Simbanest Radio, sauti ya mwananchi.
Good morning and welcome to Simbanest Radio, sauti ya mwananchi. Welcome to today's Chambua magazeti show. I'm your host Jane. Karibu kwenye Chambua magazeti na Simbanest Radio. So today we're gonna start with the Daily Nation, and let's see what Daily Nation is saying today. And the main topic, the main story on Daily Nation is that a State House budget doubles to 17 billion shillings. And it continues to say that it says that we need an amendment to the Public Finance Management Act to provide clarity on expenditures under Article 223 of the Constitution as currently structured. The National Treasury will continue to abuse the Constitution, and we may end with a discredited budget regime. That's the main story on Daily Nation. And it continues to say that the State House budget for the current financial year has doubled to 17 billion shillings, following additional 8 billion shillings mid-year allocations under a constitutional clause reserved for emergency spending without prior approval by the National Assembly. And the analysts at the Parliamentary Budget Office warned the provision is routinely exploited by the government to allocate funds for expenditures that would otherwise not be classified as unforeseen. And as we look at other stories on Daily Nation, there's an interview and Okech Salah on Raila's Dev 2027 elections. And it says on page 7, controversial businessman speaks about his association with Raila Odinga, who died last October, revisiting the struggle with illness, concerns about the cause of his death, and the ODM leader wishes for the 2027 polls. You can find more about that story on page 7 of the Daily Nation. And also on Daily Nation, there is The Voice, Give to Gain, and about the health. Teachers threaten strikes over shower walls. And on page 10 you can find more about this story, and it says the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers has told the Social Health Authority management to address their members' grievances within 7 days or brace for tutors strike. Ni walimu wanatishia kugoma iwapo management ya SHA haitaweza kusikiza madai ya wananchi. And also on Daily Nation, we find that cancer patients turned away as KNH machine breaks down Kenyatta National Hospital. And it says on page 3, patients at Kenyatta National Hospital have been left without access to advanced radiotherapy for 2 months after the linear acceleration, not acceleration but accelerator known as the LINAC machine broke down. And she says the breakdown has reduced the hospital the hospital's insolology or capacity by half, and Kenyatta National Hospital ordinarily attends to about 100 cancer patients every day. You can find more about this story on page 3 of the Daily Nation. And on page 8 of the Daily Nation, it says that court allows police drug raids without warrants. Wow, not a bad thing. It continues to say, police officers can lawfully raid suspects and contact them without court warrants. That is on page 7 of the Daily Nation. And the next newspaper that we're gonna look today is The Standard. And The Standard says, waiting for deaths. And it says, do we really care? Do we really care about what? Let's see what it continues to say. And it continues to say that warnings have been issued, reporters written, the latest released just last week, and protests held, yet little has changed at Nairobi's Wilson Airport. Crumbling runways, falling rescue systems, skyscrapers creeping into night pubs, and political interference have left the busy air hub dangerously exposed. With more than 120,000 aircraft movements every year, Insiders One Wilson is overstretched, poorly regulated, and edging towards disaster. More of this story you can find on page 6 of the Standard. And there is a cycle shown there about how the deteriorating infrastructure at Wilson Airport has been. Now, the first one says a 2023 multi-electoral technical committee found when when airports suffered from damaged runway, leaking pipes, poor damage rated nodes, and weak power. I think on the matter of aircraft, it should be more serious because many people use aircraft, and the deaths do not leave just damage; they leave deaths, and the standard also shows that there was a time when they published about the ticking time bomb about the Wilson Airport. The next newspaper that we're gonna look at is the Star. After a short break. Welcome back. This is Chambua Magazeti show, and you are listening to Simbanest Radio, sauti ya mwananchi. So let's look at the Star. The Star says, Rigathi Dale, is it a lifeline or a landmine for Sifuna camp? The story is on page 6 of the Star. Also, there's another story about Duale on SHA reforms, fraud crackdowns, cancer cover, digital health. Also on the Star newspaper. Let's see what the Nairobian is saying. And on the Nairobian, the main story is a Firebrand MP, love, power, and tragic end. And the paradox says, a bold, controversial, and unapologetically loud, Johanna Ngeno built his reputation on fearless confrontation and fierce loyalty to his community. He clashed with presidents, police, and rivals, earning admiration as a grassroots defender. And it continues to say, and criticism as a polarizing firebrand. But even in death, controversy trades him. Days before the fatal helicopter crash, Ngeno was filmed celebrating his wife's birthday in a tender family moment, now etched in tragedy. Online speculation over alleged secret romances and his high-profile marriage has only intensified debate around his legacy. You can find more about that story on page 4 and 5 of the Nairobian. Also on the Nairobian there is DNA bombshell, billionaire politician secret daughter, and you can find that on page 7. On page 6, you can find another story about from love scandal to social media showdown. That is the Nairobian newspaper. Let's see, Taifa Leo. And Taifa Leo says, the main story is Ikulu isiyoshiba. Na inamaanisha vipi? Inasema kuwa bajeti ya Ikulu kwa mwaka wa kifedha 2025 and 2026 imepanda mara 2 kufikia 16.998 shillings billion baada ya kutengewa pesa zaidi katikati ya mwaka kutokana na matumizi bila idhini ya bunge. Na habari kamili ipo ukurasa wa 2 wa Taifa Leo. Na pia habari zingine ambazo zilizoko ni kama Oburu akunja ngumi ODM. Kinara wa ODM aitisha mkutano wa wajumbe wenye agenda moja kumuidhinisha. Ipo ukurasa wa 3 wa Taifa Leo. Na kispoti, Arsenal FC yanusia taji la EPL. Inaendelea kusema kuwa Arsenal ilichukua udhibiti wa ligi kuu EPL baada ya kushinda Brighton na 1. Habari hiyo kamili utaipata ukurasa wa 20 wa gazeti la Taifa Leo. Na pia kwa vidokezo, inasema kuwa wizara ya kiri maambukizi ya mafua yamezidi. Na wizara ya afya imetangaza kuongezeka kwa maambukizi ya homa ya mafua katika maeneo mengi nchini. Habari kamili ipo ukurasa wa 3, na ukurasa wa 2 utapata habari nyingine ambayo ni upinzani wakataa hazina. Inaendelea kusema kuwa upinzani unaonekana upinzani umeomba bunge kukataa mswada wa wizara ya fedha kuhusu miundombinu mwaka wa 2026. Na habari nyingine ambayo ipo ukurasa wa 8 ni 200 wafariki temboni nchini DRC. Inasema kuwa watu 200 waliaga dunia Jumanne timboni kwenye maporomoko ya ardhi kufuatia mvua kubwa. Pole sana kwa familia za waliofiwa na Mungu awape amani. Kwa People's Daily, habari kuu ni kuwa Gachagua Kindiki battle for Mount Kenya supremacy. Kama mnavyojua wote wawili wametoka Mount Kenya na hatujui nani atakayeshinda, ama hatujui Mount Kenya watachagua wao yupi. Hiyo ndio habari kuu kwenye People's Daily. Na kwa Business Daily, let's see what Business Daily is. Inasema kuwa Treasury retains budget for Raila's office and pension. Na inasema kuwa Kabumange anasema kuwa the treasury has kept the budget for the office of former Prime Minister Raila Odinga for the year to June in the revised national budget tabled in Parliament this week, nearly 5 months after the death of veteran opposition leader. It says budget documents tabled before lawmakers show the only amendment made to the vote is 5 million shillings in the year 2021. Another story that is on Business Daily is one of the highlights of the KPC IPO was Uganda's uptake of the near total allocation reserved for East Africa investors. You can read more about that on page 9 of the Business Daily. Also, another story is about State House added 8.4 billion shillings for travel, new cars, hospitality. Yeah, that's all on the Business Daily newspaper. Welcome back, and I would like us to look more into details on this topic that we've seen, ambayo inaongelewa sana leo kwa magazeti yote, na inasema kuwa it says State House budget doubles to 17 billion shillings. Tumeona kuwa imerudiwa mara nyingi kwa gazeti 3 au pia zaidi, na hili ni jambo la kushtua, maana imepanda kutoka 8 billion shillings to 17 billion, ambayo ni times 2, ni mara mbili ya ambavyo ilikuwa. According to the report, the budget for the State House has increased from about 8.5 billion shillings to about 16.998 billion shillings. That is around 17 billion shillings. Now this means the government added about 8.42 billion shillings more during a supplementary budget. That was the media adjustment. So the amount of money allocated for State House operations has almost doubled. Okay, in an example, previous allocation was about 8.5 billion shillings, but the new allocation is about 17 billion shillings, and sio bure, inaongelewa kwenye magazeti yote ya leo. Na the reason why the budget increased is because of the travel expenses. The budget for local travel and transportation increased significantly. It rose from about 933 million shillings. Sijui kama tunaelewana. From 933 million shillings to about 2.1 billion. Wow. Wow. Msikilizaji, unasikiliza Simbanest Radio, and you can send us your opinion about this matter on our WhatsApp number 0728 091 656 0728 091 656, and also on all social media platforms at Simbanest Radio. Ile ni jambo la kushtua sana. That is only on travel expenses. Kutoka 933 million shillings to 2.1 billion. And this includes the presidential tours around the country, government functions, meetings with leaders and citizens. All right. Another reason why the budget has increased is the hospitality and events. More money is allocated for hosting foreign leaders, state functions, and official ceremonies. And these events usually involve security, catering. As we all know, a president must have a high security. We don't know why. But okay, have you ever wondered, a person like me, I don't need to work with bodyguards right now, but the moment I become a president or a politician, I must have like as many bodyguards as possible. That is just a by the way. Also, logistics and accommodations, and that is another thing why the budget has increased greatly. And also operations of the presidency. State House also supports the president's advisors, and they are well paid. Yeah. Administrative staff, communication teams, and maintenance of State House buildings. Wow. State House must be neat and very well looking. And also, this cost increases when the government expands presidential activities. So the more the president travels, the more the president hosts foreign leaders, the more the budget increases. The more he goes, he travels abroad for whatever meetings, the more the budget will increase. That means the more the State House is renovated, the more the caterings are done, the more the budget will increase. That's very concerning, by the way. And the reason why this story is controversial is because Kenya is facing economic pressure. yesterday we saw on another newspaper that Kenyans are really struggling with financial pressure. So that's why this issue has been talked about in many newspapers today. Like, it's a very big news, and it's very concerning. By the way, that's a lot of money. Yet Kenyans are struggling with financial pressures. Many Kenyans are struggling with high cost of living, taxes. Yeah, as you all know, taxes have greatly increased, and also unemployment. We've seen the youth. They are saying that there is no employment, so they turn out doing online businesses, whatever, those digital jobs. And so when the presidency budget increases sharply, some people question whether it is necessary. Is it necessary? What do you think? You are listening to Simbanest Radio, and I'm your host, Jane. We are looking into details about this topic on Daily Nation newspaper that says State House budget doubles to 17 billion shillings. It was initially 8.5 billion shillings, but it has now increased times 2, which makes it up to 17 billion shillings. That is very concerning, and it has been a great news today to everyone, to Kenyans and to everyone. Whoever understands that 1 billion is a lot of money, 2 billion is a lot of money, 3 billion is a lot of money. So what about 17 billion shillings? You can send us SMS about your opinion on our WhatsApp number 0728 091 656, 0728 091 656, and on all social media platforms at Simbanest Radio. I'm your host, Jane Naitore. So let's compare with the White House. The newspaper even noted that the Kenyan State House budget is now higher than the budget of the White House in the United States, which surprised many observers. Wow. The United States are far much ahead than us Kenyans. But now, our president is living even better than the president in the US. Anyways, what do you think? I think that's very, it's a concerning issue, by the way. I didn't realize it was this serious. Okay, the reason why it's serious is because in United States, the economy is far much better than ours. Far much better than ours. But right now, our president is living even better than the United States president. And whatever this means politically is that it increases debate in parliament, criticism from opposition leaders, and questions from taxpayers about government spendings. Yeah, wananchi tutateta because president hawezi kuwa anaishi vizuri hivyo yet tunateseka huku chini. And in simple terms, the newspaper is saying that the government has increased the amount of money used to run the president's office from 8.5 billion shillings to 17 billion shillings, mainly due to higher travel, hospitality and operational expenses. Sijaona kitu ya maana hapo isipokuwa kutravel. Anyway, you are listening to Simbanest Radio, sauti ya mwananchi. That will be all for today. I've been your host Jane, and thank you for choosing Simbanest Radio. Have a good day.
Simbanest Radio, sauti ya mwananchi.